On this week's show, how much money should you save versus spending?
In the news, we're going to talk about the Cornwall town that's banning Londoners from buying second homes.
And we'll be answering all your property-related questions.
Welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and YouTube. Enjoy this week's show and don't forget to share it with all your friends.
Hey, I'm Russell Leeds.
Hey, I'm Alistair Cunningham.
And welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. I'm actually quite looking forward to this show because literally I was on Instagram, scrolling Instagram as you do, and I came across this article and it said Nick Cage, this is comparing two people, right, side by side. It said Nick Cage played in 78 movies and made $150 million. He spent it all on cars, islands, zoo animals, and is now broke.
Yeah.
Versus Sylvia Bloom, who was a secretary, lived in a rent-controlled housings, saved and invested little by little, and died with $9 million. The lesson, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you invest.
That is a very valid lesson. It's never about how much you make, it's about how much you manage to keep. Businesses like that, you can turn over millions and millions of pounds, but if you don't keep it or if you've lost it on bad expenses, then it's pointless. It's because they say this all the time, don't they? Turnover is vanity.
Yeah.
It's like this. The Nicolas Cage made 150 million. That's vanity. So that's the thing, isn't it?
Here's my question to you, right?
Yeah.
Who would you rather be if you had to choose to be one of those two people?
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, broke.
Yeah.
Sylvia Bloom, 9 million.
There's two aspects to look at this.
Well, hold on.
Right.
I want an answer. Who would you rather be, Nicolas Cage or Sylvia Bloom?
But it's not a straightforward answer because there's two ways to think of this. Because when they say he's broke, is he destitute in the sense of like what we would know broke as being, or is it means he's got £1 million in the bank, or is it broke, or is it celebrity style broke?
Well, I imagine. I mean, a lot of celebrities are a bit broke.
Yeah,
on stage phase. I imagine. Look, he's still Nicolas Cage. He could still go and do another movie and make millions of pounds, right? But he's obviously wasted all his money. I think is the point. So would you rather have?
He's had a lot of fun.
Well, this is the question, right? Because the thing is, my point with her was she lived in like rental control, and yes, she got 9 million, but she died with 9 million, meaning that
I would rather be Nicolas Cage.
I would also rather be Nicolas Cage.
I'm sure she's a lovely lady, but she's probably had a very, I don't want to say boring, but she's probably had a very sort of save, living with minimalistic life, living in rent control. Whereas Nicolas Cage, he would have had mansions, he would have had cars, he would have had parties. You name it, he's probably had it, right? And he's also probably blown it, okay? And he's blown the money. But my point being, he's got a hell of a story to tell about it. It's like Jordan Belfort.
Yeah.
Like Jordan Belfort, we all know that he was a criminal and he broke the law. But my God, the parties, the fun, the lifestyle, everyone loves Jordan Belfort. They don't look at that. They look at what he got up to, and I'm sure Nicolas Cage is the same. But
that was the thing. I read this and I was looking at it and I was thinking, obviously, I believe in investing and saving money and being sensible with your money. But I was looking at it and obviously it's trying to say she's a hero, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Right. And I was reading it and I was thinking, you know what? I would rather be Nicolas Cage.
I just can't believe that he's got zero. I just can't believe it.
I
don't believe it.
Well, maybe he doesn't, but let's say for this, because that's what it says on there, let's say for this story he does. Yeah. So, would you rather have nothing and be Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, because she's passed away, unfortunately.
So that's a bad start.
She's basically died with money, which is, like we always say, die with debt. Good debt, obviously. But Nicolas Cage is still alive. He's still Nicolas Cage. However, I did read something that you notice he's not been in many films in the last couple of years. Apparently, that's because he caught I don't know how true it is, and it depends if you believe in all these conspiracy theories. Do you know how certain actors call out what happens in Hollywood? Because you know there's lots of conspiracies about Hollywood and like Harvard, Harvey, whatever his name is,
Weinstein
and all sorts of stuff.
Apparently,
Nicolas
that one
Cage.
guy they're saying is admitted to being a cannibal or something.
Well, yeah, the Encrum something, I don't know, but where they talk about how a lot of the elite in Hollywood drink the blood of children because it makes them feel fresh. Like Tom Cruise is meant to be involved in all this. Whitney, not Whitney Houston, would go, but not all these big famous actors, and they're all rumoured. It's not me. Look on online. I will show you all this sort of stuff. And they're all rumoured to be involved. Neither do I. I don't believe it. Right, but they're all rumoured to be involved in all this sort of stuff. I don't believe it at all. Okay, but apparently Nicolas Cage called it out, and he was like, no, it's this. If that is, apparently he's had many debates in public, sort of calling out. And that's why you don't see him in many films anymore. He doesn't get cast very much anymore, because it's the elite, isn't it? They're cutting them out. But I would still rather be Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Because just for the stories, man. And he's not broke. There's absolutely no way on
you can't get over that.
No way on hell on this earth that he is broke. He might not have 150 million, but you're telling me that he got 150 million over 20, 30 years, and he didn't buy any houses, he didn't buy any investments, he didn't buy any fancy art. He might be broke cash-wise, but I bet he's around loads of assets where if he just sold some of the houses or some of his assets that he's got hidden away.
But maybe he's got to that point, and then he sold the assets to have the cash, and he spent the cash.
Yeah, maybe he's living in a 2-bedroom studio in freaking Minneapolis.
Do you
believe that?
Do you know what? I don't know. Here's the thing.
I'd love to, like Nicolas Cage wakes up in the morning, he's like, oh, fucking, I've only got bread to eat today. It's just come on. It's just not. Yeah, I can't see it. I really can't. I'd love it, but I just cannot see it. Look at that. His net worth is 25 million. He's not friggin' broke.
No, that was of 2017. And he's ordered to pay off his debts.
What's his debts though? Because they say, for instance, like Jordan Belfort, he got done after all of his
He
convictions.
spent 150 million on a private island and a dinosaur skull. Here's a list of everything he bought. He owes tax. That's why.
Oh, alright.
So he had 25 million, but he had to sell off everything to pay his tax bill.
As I was saying, like Jordan Belfort had $110 million in restitution he had to pay. And according to a lot of the press, he's not paid back hardly any of it. But he claims to be living a broke lifestyle. But if you look on his Instagram, every day there's pictures of him living it up. So he can't be that broke.
He owns 15 mansions,
Of course he does.
including a 25 million waterfront home in California. Lots of others over Europe. He owns 2 castles.
Wow. Yeah.
He owns a deserted island in the Bahamas.
Yeah, that's why not?
He owns a 9-foot tall burial tomb.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you do, innit? When you're making up money, go buy a burial tomb, I don't know. Like.
He owns a £150,000 pet octopus.
Like, why? What would make you want to go buy an octopus?
He owns the first ever Superman comic, which he bought for 150 grand.
Cool.
He owns a dinosaur skull. So he's blowing his money, right?
He's basically blowing his money up the wall.
Here's what I think.
Yeah.
Right. We both chose Kate. However,
Yeah.
I also think he's stupid as well.
Yeah.
Right, obviously. So what I actually think you should do is do both.
Do both, yeah.
You know, it's you should save to invest, but you should also
live.
Enjoy the money that you're making now. Of course, what's the point?
What's the point, exactly? What is the point in working your backside off to live a minimal life? Nah, screw that.
A lot of the posts on Instagram, honestly, I don't agree with, where they say things like, oh, rich people, poor people, but a picture of a Gucci, someone holding Gucci, poor people buy Gucci, rich people, you know, and they show a picture of Mark Zuckerberg, where it's like, yeah, he might. Mark Zuckerberg might not buy nice clothes, but like Mark Zuckerberg does it. A lot of the reasons is because like he drives a crap car because he doesn't want his employees and stuff and his people working under him wanting to drive really nice cars.
So I read that the reason Mark Zuckerberg, he goes to, apparently according to the books, Mark Zuckerberg, when he's in the office, unless he's going to special meetings, but when he's in the office, the day-to-day life, he goes to work every single day in the same clothes.
Yeah.
And the reason he does that is so he doesn't have to waste time thinking about what to wear. And the same with the cars and that. He has a very basic. Warren Buffett drives a 22-year-old sedan or something like that. Warren Buffett lives in the same house he's lived in since the 1980s. It's like a 4-bedroomed sort of townhouse in Colorado or something like that. And like, just because they don't invest loads and loads of money where they live, they've got lots of investments around them, but they of course they holiday in nice places, they have nice experiences in life and things like that. But I know what you're saying, like you see these posts all the time, don't they? And it's always from somebody trying to become an influencer or something like that says, poor people buy Gucci, whereas rich people buy books and all that sort of crap. It's just, they're obviously poor, like because there's nothing wrong with enjoying your money.
No.
There's nothing wrong with, if you like nice clothes, buying nice clothes. Where it becomes a problem is where you are using credit to buy nice clothes.
Yeah.
So I was always taught, never use credit for anything you wear or anything you eat. Use it for assets, use it for emergencies, but never for anything you wear, never for anything you eat. That's what I was always told, taught credit-wise. But I don't know, I mean, what do you guys think? Who would you rather be, Nicolas Cage or Sylvia?
Well, what Sylvia? Well, that's part of the point, isn't it? I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
Sylvia Bloom. But I think what you should do, and we both do this, is we will save 10% of our money to invest. So if you're earning, you don't invest it. Some people invest it all. I say, look, guys, if you're investing all your money in interest, you're not enjoying it. What are you doing it for? So we will invest a set percentage. I do 10%.
So do you follow the money jar type things that we got talking about?
Napoleon Hill and all that.
Yeah, like TR Becker, like we have the money jars and all that sort of stuff. Do you actually do that?
I do that. Yeah,
I do as well.
I've got different bank accounts. I invest 10%. 10% of my money that I earn, I invest.
Yeah.
10% of the money that I earn, I blow on stuff like my car and things like that. Then you've got your 50% for your living expenses.
Yeah.
10% give.
Yeah.
10%
I think that's important. You know, that's important what you say. I'm glad you brought this up actually, because a lot of people, and particularly people that are not into investing, they always say, "Well, I don't have any money to invest." And one of the key things I think when it comes to business and also investing in anything, the first thing you've got to be able to do is manage your money. Like completely manage your money. Clearly Nicolas Cage couldn't manage his money, but you would think with that sort of money around, he would have somebody that can say, "Oh, dude, you're spending too much," or like rein it in a little bit, okay? So the first thing you've got to do is you've got to learn to manage your money, and you've got to do it effectively. The system that we've used, the TR Becker system that I've seen, I don't know who created it, but I know it from TR Becker, six bank accounts, 50%, 10%, 10%, 10%, and do that every month. And what's so good about it is your 10% blow account, you blow it. You spend it on whatever you want to spend it, and it then stops that urge to just willy-nilly spend whenever you want to spend. And likewise, the 10% save account, make sure you're saving that money. And it's good.
And you can't touch it, it's just for investments only.
Yeah, and once you get into the habit of managing your money better, you'll actually realise you have more.
Mate, massively
You
more.
do, don't
Because
you?
you blow money you're not even aware of.
Yeah.
You blow.
And another thing that I'll give you, I just gave somebody this bit of advice. I gave actually my daughter Yasmin, she's 21 and she just moved in with me, and I'll give you the biggest bit of advice I just gave her. She gets paid, like she's for 21 years, she has good money, but she blew her wages in 2.5 weeks living in London, right, to the point where she's got a bill money left, but she's got no more spare money left, apart from, then don't get me wrong, listen, she's got a lot of money saved up, but she doesn't touch her savings, that's for savings.
Yeah.
But so her money her salary, she's got a bill money left,
I think
spare money.
I think everyone's been there.
Yeah, I know, Chris.
I think everyone's been there.
So what I said to her, I said, look, next month when you get paid, every single time you go to spend money, just go into your notes, write down what you spend, what it is and how much it is, and just tally up how much you actually spend. Because you'll be shocked at what, especially around London and things like that, when you're tapping in and out the underground, you're buying a coffee, you're doing that, it adds up, and before you know it, you've spent £300-400 on coffee. Trust me, it adds up.
Easy.
Up.
Well, I've got different cards. So I'll use different. If I buy something I don't need to buy, like coffee or whatever, it goes on my play card, my blow money. I don't need a coffee now.
No, do you know something? The coffee's always done it. They've always done it for me. I don't know if you remember about 3 years ago, and at the time you were pissed about this, right? But 3 years ago, we were running an event in central London, and our operations team had, I think they had my card for the company or something like that, and they kept. We were there at this venue for 3 days, and they were always doing Starbucks runs. They were constantly Starbucks runs, and they were just getting coffees for the staff and all that stuff, which is fine. But we added that up at the end of the 3 days, and it was something like £900.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
And it was absolutely ridiculous. And it's like, wow, that made me think, geez, coffees, they might only be £2 or £3, but when you get a lot,
well, it's not, is it? It's like $3.80.
Yeah.
Because everyone was going, oh, I'll have a skinny latte with hazelnut syrup, large, please.
It's just funny. Listen. The whole purpose of this is, do you want to be like Nicolas Cage and blow your money, or do you want to be like Sylvia and have a comfortable life, not exactly live the most extravagant life, but die with money in the bank that you can leave on? I think it's a combination of both.
Oh, 100% it's a combination of both. Number one, you want to be a good earner.
Yeah.
So Nicolas Cage has got that right.
He's got that skill.
Number two, you want to enjoy the money. Great, Nicolas Cage has got that right. But number three, you want to save, invest wisely, and which Sylvia's got.
Yeah.
So there's traits of both. If I had to choose, I'd rather be a good earner that blew it than a poor earner that just did really well saving it and then died.
It is a common theme, you know, and like think about this, right? If you ever hear of anybody, like, and it will, obviously they're in the public eye, so you will hear of them more so, but if you ever hear of anybody like blowing a fortune, it's normally somebody like a footballer, somebody that's really good at one specific thing that's made them a lot of money. Football, motor racing, American football, actor, actress, they've won the lottery, but they're crap, they're shit at managing the money. So his skill set as an actor, he's a great actor, world-class actor, but he's obviously shit at managing his money.
Yeah.
Take all the people that blow the money, like lottery winners. I mean, they're lucky. There's no real skill. They're luck. But like footballers, all these, they're great at playing football, but they just don't know how to manage money. That's the thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah. And I have noticed. I mean, maybe this is going on, but I know a lot of footballers have started getting in touch with Samuel and sort of saying, oh, I want to. Property. Well, they're a little bit sensible here. I want to start buying some property because they don't really know what they're doing, but they know that they need to do something. Which is a good start, I suppose.
Thing is, with any sort of sport, I know I've got a friend that plays football for not a massive team, but he's sort of semi-professional, and he's 24. He's now benched because he's done his knee, and he doesn't reckon he'll ever go. He might stay where he's at, but he's not going to proceed. So now he's gone from earning like $5-6 grand a week to being benched, and he might end up not coming back. So he's had 2 or 3 years of earning that. Now he's like, well, fuck. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like,
yeah, it does go very, very quickly. So I'd like to get your thoughts. Who would you rather be? Do you agree with us? Somewhere in the middle, save 10%. Below 10%. Enjoy your life.
Absolutely.
That's definitely where we're at.
Might be a bit in the middle.
Right, it's now time for this. So in the news this week,
Get the news article.
we have this was another article that kind of caught our eye, didn't it? It was
very interesting.
Go on then, you take it away, you can tell us what it is. It's that one.
Okay, so in the news, there's a beautiful Cornwall seaside town has banned Londoners from buying second homes in the area. So basically, picturesque seaside town has banned people from buying properties to use as second homes
Is it
for ownership.
Specifically Londoners? Like, am I allowed? I mean, Buckinghamshire, or does that...
Residents across Cornwall have complained recently that they're being priced out of their own homes. This is largely due to a staycation boom caused by the pandemic. And the census found that 26% of the properties in Fowey, on the county's south coast, are second homes. Some were sold for more than £1 million towards Londoners. But the port town has banned newly built houses being sold as second homes, a move which has been met with mixed reactions. Under new rules, new homeowners will have to prove the property will be their principal residence. But one woman wrote online, "I've worked hard for my second home. That's not fair, and how can you stop somebody buying a house? It's bonkers." I don't know, what do you think? I mean, I do get it. like you've got Londoners, and particularly people from like London and the south and things like that. They've done well in business, or they're making good money in their job, and they want to buy a staycation home somewhere to go and have a UK holiday. And Cornwall's a natural, nice place to do it. So they go down there and they want to buy their second home. But is it fair? I don't know. What do you think? Can you stop them? How can you possibly stop somebody buying a house? Because like how can, not unless they put it into the title, can't be sold to anyone with a London postcode. I don't know, but
well, I don't think it's just London. I think it's they're stopping second homes at all.
Yeah, but I mean the emphasis was London, so I mean it won't be.
That's probably because that's where they are.
That's the news article. But I do get it from a local point of view, because if you've got people that live in Cornwall all their life, and because people from outside Cornwall are coming in to buy, it's pushing house prices up. But Cornwall is the lowest paid part of the country. Do you know that? Is it really?
Yeah.
The lowest paid. Yes, 100%. Mate. Google it.
I'm gonna Google it. Because I'm not.
Because I was astounded by that. It's one of the lowest paid parts of the country, from an industrial point of view. I remember when I was with Snap-on Tools. That's one thing they used to always tell us. Cornwall was one of the lowest paid in the UK for salary or income.
Something else, one of the lowest.
Where else is that?
Well, I'm going to find out. You carry on talking.
But my point being is the salaries are not on par with London, they're not on par with other big cities. So you've got people growing up in Cornwall that want to live there because that's where their families are from, but they can't buy because they can't afford, because the house prices are going up, because people like us are going in there and we're buying second homes and we're taking all the homes away from the locals. So I don't know, what do you think?
I mean, my gut reaction is I don't like it when stuff gets enforced.
Yeah.
Like, that's my gut reaction, is like, well, if people want to buy a second home there. Having said that, I have been to areas where in the winter it's just ghost town.
Yeah.
Because they're all holiday homes, and I do get it if there are people that live there, and I remember reading about a village, I don't know, I might have talked about it on the show actually, where there was like
one house left.
One house, and all the others like.
That was in North Wales. I remember that. It was in North Wales. It was a town where apparently the in the winter months, and this whole street they were all second homes, and there was like one resident that had been there all of his life, and he's like, no, I'm not selling, I'm not moving, and he was the only person there in this whole street in most of the winter months. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid that
you can't find it. Can you?
I have found it. Cornwall doesn't even make it in the top 10.
Doesn't it?
So top 10.
They've gone up, man.
Worthing, Southend, Norwich, Doncaster, Bradford, Huddersfield, Wigan.
It's not the first time I've been incorrect. So
no.
Maybe it was, in fairness, it was when I was working with Snap-on Tools, and that was 7 years ago. So,
or maybe it's the maybe it's like the county the lowest, because like places like Wigan, for example, is also near to Manchester.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's what it is. But I know it's not the highest paid part of the country.
That's London, surely.
London, Manchester, Birmingham, I suppose.
Well.
Not Birmingham, but it would definitely be 100% be London.
Yeah.
But above London, where else is the second richest place? It's got to be Manchester, or it's got to be one of the cities, isn't it?
Well, probably one of the cities. It's got to be a city.
It's got to be. It's got to be a second richest city in. It's got to be where all the jobs are, aren't they? All the big booming.
Reading, Crawley, Milton Keynes, Cambridge, Slough, and after London.
Oh, okay. Good stuff. Well, anyway, here's what it is. What do you guys think? Do you think it's fair that the Cornwall have said no second homes, or do you think they're
what do you think? So? Yes or no? Yeah, is it fair?
I don't think it's fair.
You think they should be able to buy?
I think you should be able to buy whatever you want. If you've got the money, you need a willing buyer and a willing seller. And if you've got somebody willing to sell to you and you've got the money, then happy days, crack on. That's their business.
In any circumstance.
I'm going to say yes, but I know you've got some smart
arse.
I know you've got some smart arse.
If I make some cocaine, for example, and you're a willing buyer, should drug trade be legal?
Well, it is legal in many countries.
In this country?
In this country, no, because it's illegal.
So
this is
homes illegal.
No, it's not. It's not
illegal.
The
point is, councils, governments, whatever, have sectors that you can't do that. You said it should never be the case. So I'm saying, how about guns? Willing seller, willing buyer.
In this country, no, because guns are illegal. Yeah, but do you know? I read this the other day, right? And I found it really interesting. Speaking about the drug world and all that sort of stuff, do you know there's one country in the world where there's no illegal drugs, where it's completely legal to buy whatever drug you want? Do you know where it is? It's closer to home than you think. And it's not Amsterdam.
Well, I was going to guess Netherlands. Okay. Yeah, closer to home than you think.
Yeah.
Where everyone's going to be like drugged up and stuff the whole time.
You'd
Scotland?
Think. No, you'd think, wouldn't you? You'd think.
Okay.
Portugal.
Really?
So apparently, I read it the other day, in Portugal, it is not illegal to buy the Class A drugs. It's not legal. It is completely legal. And as a result, they've got one of the lowest crime rates, they've got one of the lowest drug addiction rates, and they've got one of the lowest alcoholic addiction rates in the whole world. Because they legalise drugs. I found it really interesting.
So you're saying we should legalise drugs now?
I'm not saying we should legalise drugs.
Well, you kind of are very much suggesting
I'm just saying that's the story of Portugal. But you can't, and you put whatever you want. But I know what is it. Anyway, what do you think? Should Cornwall ban people from buying second homes, or should they allow it and just let bygones be bygones and just let people crack on and do business? Will and buy or will and sell? That's what I think.
Right, it's now time for this.
Okay, it is now time for today's Q&A session. So this come into me from Instagram, and it is from Zara. Now, Zara just recently attended the Deal Finding Extravaganza Deal Selling Masterclass course, which we run just a couple of weeks ago. And she goes, when setting up your limited company, she's trying to use, she's using Company's House to set the company up, but she doesn't want her personal address on there, and she would like to have a different address. What do we recommend? Zara, when we were at the DSM, I run you through how to do this. I use a company called Companies Made Simple. And when you go online to set up your limited company on Companies Made Simple, they give you an option. I think it's under the privacy package, and I think it's £49. They give you an option to use their address as your registered address. It's £49 for the year, and what that means is your private residential address is not going to be on Company's House, and then therefore it's not going to be in the public domain. So I definitely recommend following the instructions we gave you at the Deal Sell Masterclass. It's in the manual. Companies Made Simple, privacy package, £49, and do it that way. Set your company up that way. That way your address is not on the Company's House.
Cool, awesome.
You got any more questions?
Question here. I saw on one of your videos you mentioned super rent. Would you suggest HMOs or serviced accommodation?
So two types of rent that we teach and we discuss. We talk about general rent, which is the everyday market value rent for a property in a single let condition. So whatever the market rent is for that property, let's say it's a 3-bed terraced house in Bradford, whatever the market rent in good condition that property would get as a 3-bed for single let, that's your general rent. And then super rent is where you take that property and then you make it into either service accommodation or HMO. HMO, obviously you would up the rent because you'd have 2 or 3 tenants in there as opposed to 1 tenant, and you get 2 or 3 different tenants, maybe 4 tenants, depends on the size of the property. And then service accommodation, you're getting a nightly rate as opposed to a monthly income, so that adds up over the month and gives you a much higher rent. Depending on the area, depends on what super rent strategy you would go for. Again, you need to know your area, know what strategies you want to go for, and take it from there and do the best strategy for the best property in the best area, if that makes sense.
I suppose it depends what house you've got.
Yeah,
some houses will work really well for service accommodation.
Yeah. Some
work really well for HMOs. Some might not work for either.
I know.
Work for both.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I used to, when we used to have the offices in Wolverhampton, I used to stay, and I stayed there 3 or 4 times. It was
that bus shelter.
The bus shelter. Yeah, it was a HMO. I can't even remember what part of Wolverhampton. It was WV6. I don't know where that was, but it was
WV6 is the nicer side of Wolverhampton, where Tetnall is.
Oh, okay, fine. But anyway, it was WV6, and it was formerly a 6-bedroom HMO. Now, what happened was they owned it, they converted it into a 6-bed HMO, but Wolverhampton become really busy with HMOs, because Article 4 and all that sort of stuff. So they decided to get more creative, and what they done was they put digital keypads on all the doors. They put an ensuite in every bedroom, and it was a very small ensuite. It was the minimum. I remember you couldn't.
You used to shower honestly, in the toilet. Do you know when you flush?
I'll be deadly serious though. Like, the shower was the smallest pool I've ever been in. Like, and the basin was on top of the toilet. So do you know where you got the toilet and then you got the cistern with a sink there?
Yeah.
It was like that. And I remember, like, you couldn't even rub your back with a towel, you couldn't floss, so you couldn't do anything, right? I'm joking, guys, right? But anyway, there was no room. The point being, they made 6 bedrooms and they all put bathrooms in all of them. They went from a HMO and they were running it as service accommodation. So instead of getting...
Like that?
Yeah, exactly like that, yeah. Where you got the basin is on top of the cistern. It's
that
just
just saves
wrong.
space.
And also it saves water because the water you waste goes in, the water you put down the plug goes into the basin and goes down the toilet. Anyway, my point being, it's disgusting because obviously it is. But my point being is they took a 6-bed HMO, times got hard, so they converted it into a 6-bed, all-en-suite service accommodation for workers, charging £35 to £45 a night. But if you do the maths, even if they're getting £40 a night times 6, that's £240 a night times 5, that's about £1,000 a week. The property as a 6-bed HMO would get £1,500 a month, if tenanted. So they got, my point being is the property worked for both and they got creative with what they were doing. What you need to do, my friend, is you need to understand, does the property work for both strategies? If it doesn't, what next? What's your exit? Right property, right location, right information, right education. Hope you found that useful.
What do you think of that? That's like the toilet, shower.
The toilet's in the shower cubicle.
Yeah. It's a big cubicle.
That is absolutely ludicrous. The toilet is in the shower cubicle. Why not just say screw it and not have a toilet and just go to the toilet in the shower? That is just grim.
What about if you need a number 2? You couldn't go for a number 2 down the in the shower, could you?
Well, on that bombshell, what do you think, guys? Wednesday night, 7 p.m.
It's called, if you want to Google it, it's called the Snowden all-in-one shower cubicle.
Anyway, let me know your thoughts, guys. But on that bombshell, do you go for a number 2 in the shower? If you do, comments below. Guys, peace out, much love next week.
See you next week, guys.